Hi, I'm Ed from Piececool UK, and I'm here at Hochanda today to give you a couple of hints and tips about building Piececool models. I'm going to show you some of the kits which we make. I'm here to do a show tonight, and we've brought up 6 models, and some of them are with me here. So what I'll do is show you what's in a box, the basic tools you need to use, and I'm going to show you a couple of tips and techniques which I think really make the build process really nice. So when you get your Piececool kit, inside you're going to have just a couple of things. First of all, there's going to be a plastic envelope which is going to have the sheets of metal, the carrier sheets in there with all the components on it. And these are going to be either stainless steel, these lovely silver things, or they're going to be brass, like the Big Ben model, or they're going to be a mix. So some of our models, like the Macaw here, and the Lion Dance model, are made from a mix of brass and stainless steel, which has been pre-printed using we've got this phenomenally accurate screen printing process, which allows us to get gorgeous colours on the models, so you don't need to paint them at all. Also in the box, there's going to be at least 2 critical things. There's going to be a sheet of instructions. In some kits, that's going to be several pages of instructions, and if you buy a really big one, that's a whole book, which is good value. And there's also going to be a piece which helps you identify the parts on the carrier sheets. Sometimes on some of the small kits, that'll just be a panel on the instructions. And that looks like that. So the first thing that you need to do is to identify the parts that you've got. All the sheets are going to be lettered or numbered. So I'm going to have a look at building the Queen Anne's Revenge. So this is one of the 3 pirate ships which we sell. The Queen Anne's Revenge was Blackbeard's ship, Edward Teach's ship. So it's a fantasy design. It's not intended to be a model of a real ship, but it's great fun to build. So as I say, this has 2 sheets of stainless steel. And as you can see here, the carrier sheets, they're really thin. And all the parts are already marked out. They're photo etched. So we have this incredibly accurate photo etching process, which leaves loads of detail or creates lots of detail on the sheets to make the models really pop and come to life. So a quick look at the sheet tells me that that's A and that's sheet B. So I'm just going to put those up there. I know that they're A and B and get rid of that piece. Now the other thing you're going to need is some basic tools, and you might already have these around the house. I know a lot of people do if they're crafters and modelers. You absolutely need a pair of pliers, and you need some cutters to remove the pieces from the carrier sheet. And we sell these, and they're on the Hochanda website, and we've got 2 types available for you. We've got what we call the beginner set, and these are great if you've got small hands or you're only going to build a really basic kit. These are absolutely fantastic, and they're more than good enough for the job. And then we have our professional set, which are the ones I'm using here. I've got slightly bigger hands, so we've got the needle nose pliers and some side cutters, and you really do need to have good cutters to separate the parts from the sheet. It's not hard to do at all, but you don't want to leave any marks on there. And these are packaged, you'll see them on the website like that. And the other thing which is really useful are the auxiliary tools. So they're marked up as the bend assist tools. For this particular model, these aren't absolutely essential at all, but they're really good if you're going to build other Piececool models, especially the motorbike, the Tornado fighter jet, which I haven't got on the desk, but I'm going to be showing on the show tonight. These are great. They're phenomenal for building the models with. The biggest tool in the packet, this one here, actually has 2 incredibly tightly milled slots, one at either end, which help with one of the critical build techniques, which is either twisting or folding the tabs on the models over. And the other things which you might find useful, some tweezers. I bought these, I think they were £1 or £2. They're at some high street, really cheap shop. These are great for moving some of the small parts around, but I can guarantee you'll already have them in the house. I was just told by my wife that I couldn't use hers. And another handy thing, if you've got sticky fingers, like I do, some cheap cotton gloves can be really nice as well, so you don't leave fingerprints all over the models. So I quite often will be building just with 1 glove on to hold the parts. Not essential at all. You can clean the models really easily afterwards just using a cotton swab and a bit of window cleaners really good, or methylated spirits, something like that. Okay, so I'm just going to show you some of the basics about building the kit now. So we're working on the Queen Anne's Revenge, which is the tiny little model here. And what I'm going to do is just show you how the basic parts go together, and also how to separate the parts from the carrier sheet. So what I need for this is the main deck and the 3 masts. The instructions are going to be really clearly marked in most cases, showing you an E, which stands for the engraved side, or NE, which means the non-engraved side. And you have to be aware which of those sides is going to face up or out when you're building the model. So you might be able to see here that this is clearly the engraved side. This is the top of the deck. There's lots of detail on it. And this is the part I need. So the parts are held in the sheet with these tiny little triangular tabs. I don't know if the cameras are picking this up. So what you want to do is to use your cutters, push up against very gently, and it's just the tiniest snip. It's really easy to cut through this, and there's no strength or stress required, and the part will just pop out. So that's the deck, and I've already cut 2 of the masts out. I'm just going to clip the other one out. Here we go, it's this one. Lots of the parts on the sheets are really thin and very fragile until you've built them. Once the models start going together, they become really strong very quickly, and that's one of the magical things about Piececool, is that these 3D models with all the curved shapes and the sharp corners and everything come from flat pieces of metal, which is just fantastic. But as you're cutting the pieces out, you just need to be aware that they are fragile, and the best thing you can do is to identify the flimsiest part first of all, and to cut the connector near that, because then it won't bend as much. So in this case, it's going to be near the top of the rigging. I'm going to cut that. That. Just work our way around. Got one thing left, and it just comes free. And if the sheet does bend when you're pulling it out, there's no need to stress at all. The metal is so pliable that it's really easy to flatten it as well. At this point in the build, even if it was bent, I wouldn't bother straightening it for this particular model, because the process of building will make it stronger. So what we need to do to build the deck, to put some shape into it, is we have to make some bends. Now the bends are always marked on the instructions really clearly, and it's worthwhile, like in any modelling process, reading the instructions before you start building. Just have a good look at them, familiarise yourself. It's a good excuse for the first cup of tea of the day, or glass of wine, or glass of beer in my case. And what we need to do is identify the folds. Now these are always really, really clearly marked with a row of dots or perforations which are photo etched through. And to create a bend, you take the needle nose pliers and you lie them as closely as you can to the dots. And this is a really simple process. I need to make a right angle bend here, and all I'm going to do is push down really gently. And you always want to bend slowly as well. That wasn't done for effect. If you bend quickly, you put a lot of stress into the metal, and you can create heat, and it's possible to break the part. If you go slowly, no risks at all. Now I've got to do another bend. I'm going to push it up, so I move my pliers back. I've pulled that up to 90 degrees, so you can now see I'm starting to get some shape in. I'm going to do the same at the back, or the stern. See, I know all my nautical terms. There you go. So you can now see we've got the shape of the deck created. So now I'm going to attach the masts. On the instructions, I've identified the parts, so I've got 2 pieces from sheet A and one piece from sheet B. And these go together really simply. There are some small slots in the deck, and there are some tabs on this mast. So identify the correct way to put them in. They go together. Ooh. Now there are 2 ways that you can join the parts, and we always tell you on the instruction which way to do it. Any join which is marked with a small triangle is going to be a 90-degree twist, and any join marked with a blue dot is a 90-degree bend or fold over. So for the twist, all you need to do, I'm going to show you 2 ways of doing it as well. You grab the little tab with the top of your pliers And you want to make sure that the part's all the way through the piece of metal. So what I'm doing here, it's difficult to see on camera, is I'm actually pulling the part through. And now I'm going to move this, I'm going to twist 90 degrees, really slowly like that. Again, remember, don't stress the part. People who've been making Piececool models for a long time always twist the same way. We always try to go clockwise or anti-clockwise on every join that we make. And the reason we do that is that if you do make a mistake, if you know that you've gone clockwise, to undo it, you just very gently go back anti-clockwise. And you can do that once or twice per part without risking any damage. So I've twisted that in place, and now you can see the mast is up. So I'll do that with the other two, and then we'll work on the standing rigging. So I need to remember that I'm right-handed, not left-handed, always helps. Turn it over. And again, same thing. I'm grabbing the part, I'm giving it a tug to make sure it's tight, and a 90-degree bend. Okay, and on this one, I'm actually going to show you how we'd use this tool, which is in the auxiliary toolkit. So as I said, it's got a little slot at either end, and that slot does this job. You find the slot, you place it over the tab, and just twist the tool through 90 degrees. And there you go. That's made a really, really neat join. This tool's absolutely fantastic, especially on the complicated models. On the macaw, where there are lots and lots and lots of repeated bends and twists to make, this tool's fantastic for that. It's also great for reaching into small areas in models. But actually, because I want to be pulling on this model, I'm going to go back to using the pliers. Let's do this the right way. So you can see I'm using a magnifying light here. There's no need for this unless you happen to have my eyesight, in which case it's really handy. Okay. So there we go. Oh. Okay. And there we go. So the masts are up. So the next thing on this model is going to be to put the intermediate standing rigging up as well, which will make this really stiff. So that's on sheet B, it's part B5. I'll just quickly cut that out. Again, I'm just looking for the weakest part of this, so I don't, there you go. As I cut it out, I don't want to bend and damage it. Just a quick whip around part at the top. Go. Yeah, that's the last one. That's good. Now again, quick check on the instructions, what to do. Marvellous. I basically need to slot this down between the masts. So, a little fiddly, but not beyond the wit of man or woman. What I really love about this modelling process is that it's just time to yourself. It's time to relax. If you're getting stressed, you're doing it wrong, that's for sure. Okay, so that's gone all the way down, and I've now got to make sure that these tabs go through the hull, or the deck rather, sorry. So they're done at the back, so to stop everything moving around, I'm just really quickly going to nip these up and then work my way forwards. And that's another good thing to do with the Piececool models, is to work methodically. You know, always work your way from front to back or side to side, something like that. Because everything comes together and it gets really firm really quickly when you do that. You see I'm just doing the twist. And I reach the front, that just needs a little push. Okay. There you go. And already you can see that that's become a much stiffer, stronger structure than the sheets of metal that we started off with. So I've shown you the basics of building the model, which is the right angle folds and the twist to lock in place. So I'm going to show you the other two techniques we have, which are bending and our fold over joining technique. So the bottom of this ship, the shape of the hull is curved. So we have to make that curve. Now the entire main structure of the boat is one piece, which I've cut out of the kit here already, and the base needs to be curved. And there are loads of ways you can do this. You could use your fingers, you could work really slowly around it, but it so happened that I discovered on my desk this whiteboard marker was the best tool. It's absolutely the perfect shape, perfect diameter to bend. So all we need to do, lay the part over the top of it, and this is where you need to get a little bit zen, really gently start bending the shape. So I'm folding it around. What I don't want to do is to pinch the top and create a bend in those parts. I'm just trying to get the basic shape of the hull in. There's no way that I'm going to get this to hold its position fully, but I've got it close enough really quickly just using that. Now the next thing to do is to pull all these pieces, so that's the front of the boat, or the bow, as your pirates would call it. I need to pull those up into shape and lock them together. Now there are tiny little tabs. You can see the tabs, and there's also slots which these need to go into. So what I'm going to do, I take my needle nose pliers, just come back under the light, and I'm going to bend these tabs up at 90 degrees. So again, I'm not doing it quickly, and I'm doing it slowly so I don't damage the part. If you do something slowly, you're less likely to make a mistake. So these tabs are now at 90 degrees. And what I need to do is to gradually, I'm going to ease this into a shape and pull that up. Now, I've now managed to get the little tab through the slot. And what I need to do, this is where on the instructions, this joint is going to be marked with a blue circle, which means it's a fold over. It's a 90-degree fold. I've got one of my auxiliary tools here. There's two small ones, which I really like using because they're just so tactile, but this is absolutely fantastic for this. I'm just going to push the tab, just folding it over. So that's now a rock solid joint. I'm going to do the same with the next piece. I think I've overbent that tab. Yep, it's gone past 90 degrees, which is why that's difficult. Come on. It's going to take some editing, this, Olivia.
It's all right.
Need to bend that back. I don't know what I've done wrong there. Fuck's sake. Ah, there we go. Okay, so I've got the second tab through. I'm going to bend that over as well. So I just need to keep working my way around. So this is going to pull the side of the boat in a little bit, or a ship. I don't actually know the difference between a boat and a ship. I guess I should look that up one of these days. I'm sure it's something to do with the size. One of the really nice things about the models, as I said before, it's easy to shape the metal because it is so thin. So if you feel that you've bent it out of shape, you've gone a little bit too far during the building process, you can come back when it's all finished maybe, or at various parts during the build, and you can just ease any wrinkles out which you put into it. I do find that one of the most enjoyable things actually is when I finish the model is going over it, tweaking it, just folding this tab over. Okay, that one went in nice and easily. Again, I'll just do the last one. I'm not going to do both ends for this demo. Twist that up. So again, I need to put a little bit of a curve in. So all I'm doing when I'm bending is I'm just using my finger and thumb in this case. There's no reason why you shouldn't go back, take the pen, maybe use that, rub that over a little bit. The other thing which is really handy, and everybody's got knocking around the house, corks of one sort or another. There always seems to be a cork of the right diameter in our house, odd that. Come on. That's the last piece in place, so I'm just going to bend that tab over. Give it a bit of extra shaping. So you can now see how the shape of the hull at the bow has come together like that. And we do exactly the same thing at the stern, which will result in this shape that you have underneath. So it's a really simple process. You just need to work on it methodically, be gentle, and you can't go too far wrong.